in Beanstown. CT, Danny Life, and Julisi boy. We up right now, locking up your Saturday. Tell your bookie send my payment. Lot of opinions, but we only care about one statement. It's Boston Eddie Cappers, yeah. 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 Boston Eddie Cappers. Yeah.
Welcome in to the Tuesday opener here, December 16th. I am your host, Dan Lifshatz, here with my two guys with me today, Mr. CT Betts, also known as Chris Thurston. I'll find him on Twitter at CTBet16. CT, what's going on with you?
Happy playoffs, guys. First playoff game kicks off on Friday. Got 3 on Saturday. NFL season coming to an end. Sad times right now.
That's right. And of course, with us from DK Network, you know him as JE National. It's Mr. Julian Edlow. What's going on, Jules?
I'm ready to roll. This is
right.
Good time of the year.
That's right. It's always a super fun time of the year. What can we say? Last year was super fun. I don't know. I don't feel like it's this much fun this year. We'll see. Well, we'll talk about the game.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. The first round games kind of sucked this year, but we'll see. There's one game that's should be really good, but we'll get into it. Anyways, let's kind of start getting into all the games here. Before we do that, Jules, let's get into the old Viva read here.
We can do that.
Okay. Love to do
Just have to open it. But
okay.
Viva is very good, and jalapeno is my favorite. Everybody knows that, but that's not the read. This Tuesday opener episode of the Boston Handicappers Network is brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer with only 88 calories and 4.5% ABV. Viva Tequila Seltzer is the most refreshing seltzer out there. Clean, light, and dangerously drinkable. Made with real tequila and bold flavors like huckleberry and grapefruit. Viva pairs perfectly with a winning ticket and some football. And right now, you can get 30% off all orders at vivatequilaseltzer.com using the code BOS30 at checkout. That is code BOS30. Viva, live long, live well, live it up. Viva, go use that code because that's a pretty good chunk off Viva. 30%. Good deal.
Sure is. All right, let's take a look here. We got couple people in the chat, 10 CT saying, good evening, folks. Good evening to you. Our guy Caveman not here today. I know you said
that should really clear out the chat. That'll keep things pretty civil.
That's right, fellas. Everyone, clears out the chat, everyone. We only have a not a crazy amount of people today, but let's get into it before we start going crazy. Let's talk about our Viva thoughts of the week here. And I guess I'll start with you, CT. Last week had a couple big games. Obviously, Army
God,
Navy.
Here he comes, caveman.
Yeah, there we go. At Army Navy, at a couple other games, but a lot of NFL stuff. Anything that you had, or anything that you thought was interesting you want to talk about last week?
Yeah, I guess I'll go over to the NFL because I had a chance to close out 2 regular season win totals. I closed out one of them with the Niners. They win by 13, actually, and I have a late ad.
We closed. That
Sorry,
one.
I apologize. We closed. We both had it. I added it as well. Niners minus 12.5. Man, I'll take that. Shanahan kicking the field goal there. Whatever, shit like that's happened against me before. They were in full control of that game. Deserved to cover it. And I guess the other one here is my pack attack. And that was a bet that you and I both made last week. We both bet a -2, closes 1, shove it in our face, up 23-14 in the third. Denver punts. Love throws a pick. And all of a sudden, the game does a total 180. And Denver scores on the next 3 TDs. Love can't move the ball late in the game. Parsons goes out on a non-contact injury. Watson gets hurt on the pick, and all of a sudden, this Packers team goes from pretty banged up to really banged up. And now I'm fighting here. Got to win one of the last 3. Now you have to go to Chicago. You get Baltimore next Saturday, and then you finish. I think you're at home versus the Vikings. I can't remember if we're at home or on the road, but those are your next 3. And a Vikings team it's playing much better football. It looks like JJ woke up. So it looked like it was going to be an awesome Sunday for me. Turned into a disaster. Well, not a disaster, but it was a 3-2 Sunday, but could have been a lot better. Looked like the Packers were in full control there.
Yep. All right, Jules, over to you. Any thoughts of the week there?
On the NFL side, I guess interesting to see what happened with the Patriots. CT got that one right in the end. I had the Pats teased up to 8.5, which held on, but after that spiral, I'm very curious to see how they look on the road as an underdog in a big game on Sunday night. So I think that'll be curious. I too, like CT, have Packers futures. I have them to win the division. I have them to make the playoffs. This is going to be an interesting final few weeks. Places to buy off. Is it worth buying off? We'll see. And then the downfall of the Kansas City Chiefs has to be mentioned, I think. Officially eliminated. Yep. Mahomes tears the ACL in the same year that Brady tore his ACL, obviously.
And the LCL too. I mean, which is way worse too when you have both of those.
So Mahomes is pretty, he just had the surgery last night. He's pretty set on trying to come back to play the start of next year. I guess you can kind of do those things now, but we'll see how he looks. Like, this could, for all the people saying that the Mahomes and the Chiefs are challenging the Patriots, like, this is now their middle and their adversity that they've hit is a much more big picture thing than, talking betting last weekend. But to see how the next 3-4 years go for the Chiefs, I think is like the biggest storyline in the NFL.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely a fair one. I think for me, definitely is the last week, my biggest takeaway was the Pats Bills game. Again, I thought a phenomenal first half call by Josh McDaniels. Pats were absolutely rolling at half. There was nothing they could do, and then they stopped running the football in the second half, basically altogether. Buffalo comes back; they can't stop a nosebleed. Have some terrible calls go against them, which is absolutely true, no doubt about it. They had some really bad calls go against them, but they had the benefit of a couple calls in the first half go for them, and definitely the refs were certainly a factor in the game. But one of the first things I have to say is Patriots fans are fucking morons, dude. I just don't know the rules. The reality is that I've been arguing about it on Twitter the last couple of days, but the two pass interference calls that people are crying about, both clearly called correctly. The one to I don't remember who the fuck it was, number 10 there. I'm blanking on his fucking name. The Shakir. He tries to work back for the ball, and Jones, basically uses the momentum to push him away from it. It's classic pass interference. Every single time it's going to get called. It's called in every single game. In the NFL and college, it's a normal, common penalty. I don't know what the fuck people are going crazy about. Not to mention they had simultaneous possession. So even if it's not the penalty, he still gets the ball. He still gets the catch. So even more so. But just people are just fucking stupidity. And then the Hollins one, they're hand fighting, and White grabs him and hits the helmet, but he's looking to make a play on the ball. That happens almost every single play. Like, you want to start calling DPI in every single pass that we're going to throw now? It's just ridiculous. So I do think Pats fans just need to relax a little bit. Like, seriously, just stop crying about everything. We were the beneficiary of a lot of penalties in our way for like 25 years. So I just wouldn't cry too much about it. Bills are the better team. They deserve to win that game. Refs are not. They had a significantly better second half than we did. Josh McDaniels shit his pants, and penalties went Buffalo's way. But you could argue the Pats shouldn't have even had the opening touchdown, the opening drive there. A couple different things you could argue. But
McDermott needs the challenge there. That was terrible.
Yeah,
I don't know how they missed that.
Yeah,
on the Bills. I don't know how they missed challenging.
Oh, both. Both.
Right.
Yeah, the ref should call down and buzz that. If you're gonna buzz the one for the Pats, you should buzz that one too. Yeah. Whatever. But McDermott bad. I don't think much of McDermott as a coach, but yeah, that was bad. And whatever. But yeah, again, like, it's part of the NFL. You know what I mean? You're gonna have calls go against you, calls go both ways. I still think the Patriots are a year away, but it was an interesting game to watch, fun to watch. Really interested to see what happens this Sunday in in Baltimore, see where the Patriots kind of pick things up. So we'll see. We'll see there. Let's get into the games for the week, guys, and we'll talk about the game tonight because there is a bowl game tonight, guys. It is Troy and Jacksonville State. Right now, 199-200. Jacksonville State, a 3-point favorite, 48.5 the current total at Bet 105. This game did open as Troy is a pretty heavy favorite, guys. And
4-point favorite.
Yeah, 3.5, whatever. And now sitting as a 3-point dog. Not to mention, Troy's starting quarterback, Goose Crowder, is going to play in this game.
Yeah.
So I have not looked super deeply into who's in and who's out in this game. I just haven't had time. I've had, unfortunately, a lot of personal stuff the last day or two, so I just haven't had time to look at it. But, regardless of who's in and who's out, it feels like a fucking hell of a move, based upon the availability of everyone and Crowder being in. I disagree with the move. I would lean Troy at this point, getting the 3 points. I think this is just, it seems a little ridiculous. Either you guys have anything in this game?
Moves like this and bowl games like this, I've learned my lesson that I want nothing to do with it either way. And games like how many times have we seen games move like this and and Troy comes out and blasts them, or I could see Jacksonville State coming in and blasting them, and a Troy team just not showing up that has a lot of offensive line problems. Yep. I just want nothing to do with this bowl game.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair, Jules.
Yeah, I don't totally understand the steam either. Maybe there's something that we do not know about, but honestly, many of these have the correct side has been the side that did not get steamed in a lot of these bowl games over the past few years. It used to be 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. Just follow the money and you're going to do pretty well. And that has changed over the last, say, 3 years, let's say. So Troy +3 would be my lean. I'm not playing the game. I'm not going to fire on it. But a lot of these, unless you're very well plugged in and you have good reason for the steam, you really want to get ahead of these numbers, which we're trying to do on a couple games. We haven't done on many, but we're trying to get ahead of these numbers. And if you play Jacksonville State as a dog, great. But when you get in late at this point, it just hasn't gone well. So yeah. I'm out on this game, but Troy getting 3 now would be intriguing if you really got to go play something.
Yeah, but would tend to agree. Again, kind of strength for strength here. Troy has been a phenomenal defensive team this year. I mean, we obviously saw it in the JMU game. Is somewhat of a kind of a letdown spot here, I guess, for them. Whatever. Obviously, didn't make a significant game, and obviously didn't win the JMU game, but played that game very tough and whatever. And again, certainly an interesting matchup. Strength versus strength here. Jacksonville offense versus the Troy defense, and weakness versus weakness with the Troy offense versus the Jacksonville State defense. So, kind of an interesting matchup here. I did lean Jack State initially, but at this point, yeah, it would be Troy or nothing for me. And you can kind of see feels like a hard pass here. But you can see John mentioning taking the under tonight. Okay, I understand that. Caveman checking in non-CFP bowl games are almost as bad as professional wrestling. I disagree with that.
There's a few good ones this year that they're going to have everybody playing. There's a few of them.
I might just stick to playoff games. Funny enough, I did look at the my reminder last year because I always remind myself a year afterwards certain trends and things like that happen. And my reminder this year was don't bet fucking non-playoff bowl games, you idiot. Basically, in meaner terms. Connor checking in, fun live bet game. I do agree with that. Interesting live bet situation. Pistol Pete talking about would you go under the Troy game? I actually lean the over, but I wouldn't have any interest in betting this game unless it was Troy. I think that'd be the only thing I could have in this one.
Some of these games, I agree with what Whitaker said there. Like some of these games, you could watch a few drives and kind of tell what side you should be on and who kind of decided to show up tonight. Doesn't necessarily mean that what that side is that you bet that you think showed up live is going to win, but you could usually tell what the correct side is.
Yep. No, I would agree. And again, tomorrow we have Old Dominion, South Florida. That moved from South Florida -6 to ODU, or ODU +2.5. I just pass for me. I do think it could be some interesting live bet situations. All right, we're gonna go by rotation number here for the playoff games. I know that Bama and Oklahoma are Friday. You want to start with the Friday game and just go out of order in rotation number? What do you want to do here, guys?
I think
let's go rotation.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Rotation. We'll start with this one. Oregon JMU 291, 292. Right now, a 21-point favorite. 47.5 is the total here, fellas. CT, I know you have pretty strong thoughts in this game, so I'll start with you on this one. What are you liking right now? What are you seeing in this one?
Yeah, I think our buddy Caveman is going to like this because I believe he messaged me when the lines came out, or us, and he said he liked the Ducks, and I've come around on the Ducks. I like the Ducks as well, so I'm going to give it out here tonight. -21. That's a show play. Found it. We talked briefly a little bit about this one last week. Jules and I kind of had similar leans. Not sure where he's at with it now, but I said Dan Lanning usually covers games like this where he's laying a huge number here, expected show up, playing an inferior team like James Madison. Probably shouldn't even, if it wasn't for the stipulations of how the playoff works, shouldn't even be in this playoff. And considering last year how he got absolutely embarrassed after having a bye in his only playoff game, I think he's going to have his team ready to go here. And I think this draw pricks pretty well for the Ducks, a team that has played pretty much without their top wide receivers all year long, with Moore and Bryant. They're expected to play. They've been practicing. That's going to be a huge shot in the arm. Obviously, we know that James Madison, coach, he as great as he's been, and he's finally going to get paid, and he's got a chance to coach at big in the Big Ten. Not sure how much Chesney's going to be focused here. And I mean, there was videos, I was sending them to you guys last week on Instagram. He's out in UCLA, and when his team's getting ready for a playoff game, he's out there talking to his new team. Not sure how dialed in he's going to play. Like, this is like that stuff that Dan Lanning has time to prepare and seems like he's going to be focused here. And I think James Madison is going to have a really, really tough time scoring the football and punching it in. Like the last game we saw from them, they struggle with Troy. This has Ducks blowout written all over it. Obviously, I know that's easy to say when the line's 21. I still think it closes closer to 23. So we'll make that a show play. Oregon Ducks -21.
All right, Jules, over to you.
Yeah, I agree with everything CT said. And it's I very well may lay 21 with the Ducks by the time this game kicks off. You put into perspective like the buildup of getting over the hump for Oregon, and it's not only how just they got stomped by Ohio State coming off the bye last year in the playoff. They essentially had a playoff game the year before. That was the Pac-12 title game in Vegas. The last Pac-12 title game, they closed like 10-point favorites against Washington, and Penix and DeBoer win that game. That was a playoff game too. So Lanning has a lot to prove in terms of winning the big game. And now the big game comes against a little school at home with like all this steam to blow off. I just think they pound them. I do have a play that I'm giving out now for the game. That is going to be Oregon first half team total over 19.5. I think they score at will pretty much and break this open pretty early. I think this could be, first 3 possessions of the game, a touchdown. So at 19.5 for the first half team total, I just don't see James Madison getting stops early. You look at, so they've only played 2 home games, Oregon, since the start of November, really over the last month, 5 weeks. They had 28 at halftime against USC. They had 28 at halftime against Minnesota. Now you want to go back to lower level. I won't even say G5. I'll just say lower level competition. Back in September. Where is this? I just had this right in front of me. first game of the season was Montana State. Not that it counts, but they had 35 at halftime in that game and then took their foot off the gas a little bit. You guys remember Oklahoma State? They had 41 at halftime in that game, scored 28 more in the third quarter and then took their foot off the gas. And then Oregon State came in. They had 21 at halftime of that game. So there's not a perfect comp for JMU here. I just think it's a playoff game. They're going to blow off some steam, break this one open early.
Yeah, I just I'm completely against you guys. I actually think Oregon's really going to struggle in this game. I'm going to continue to say it. I don't think Dan Lanning is a good football coach. I think he's a great regular season coach. I don't think he's a good football coach. I think he's a good motivator. But they've had trouble against teams that have been in the top 15 defensively this year. And again, you take a look at what they did, and I know obviously road games, but take a look at what they did against Penn State. I know they found a way to win that game, but that was a borderline bad Penn State team. Indiana really shut them down for a large majority of that game. Oregon had 10 points at half. Now, obviously, this is not the Indiana defense, but again, JMU number one overall defense and defensive success this year, number 4 in overall EPA in the country. I mean, again, a pretty dominant defensive team, and I just don't think this is going to be a roll the balls out and they're going to fucking kill them. It's the same thing we always see with these Oregon football teams. They just never get it done when it fucking matters, and I continue to believe that until they've never gotten
to play James Madison at home when it matters.
Sure, but again, like Jules, what do you make James Madison versus Penn State on neutral?
I don't know. I gotta figure that out. But Penn State,
maybe
Penn
a touchdown?
State minus. Yeah, I was gonna say Penn State like 8.5, 9.
Okay, right.
And so CT, you're muted. But yeah, I'd bet Penn State in that game. He's probably yelling that. I don't know.
I'd probably make it Penn State minus 12.5.
No way.
Yeah,
no way.
That's what I make it. Yep. You asked me what I made it. That's what I make it.
Yeah.
Remember, I mean, we're going to fight about this, but remember, that's the Penn State team that sucks, right? That Indiana needed the best catch in college football history to win that game, right?
Sure. Yeah. And again, I completely agree. And they had times, but again, it's the same Penn State team that lost to UCLA, right? The same Penn State team that, struggled against Northwestern, lost that game outright. Like they get up for games, they get down for games. JMU's kind of been the same way. I mean, they've been really good against, Power 5 teams. I've covered almost every single number that they played against so far in the last couple of years. I just think people are just thinking, the roll the balls out, Oregon's going to kill them. Could be wrong. I just don't think it's going to be that easy. I'm not playing JMU because, again, the number I really would want would be 24. I think we talked about that last week, but I just don't think it's going to be roll the balls out, whatever. So we'll see. We'll be fun at least to be kind of against each other in this one. Not that I'm going to be betting JMU because I'm not fucking touching the game, but I do think it's going to be a little bit different than people expect it to be. All right, 293, 294, Ole Miss, Tulane. Ole Miss laying 17 in this one. These two teams did meet earlier this year, and it was a fucking ass kicking of epic proportion. Ole Miss literally did roll at the footballs and fucking absolutely destroyed them. I'm trying to find, I don't remember the final score of that game. 45-10. Is that right?
17 maybe. Yeah.
45-10. Yeah, 45-10. It was a fucking dick kicking. It was 23-3 at half. The game was never competitive. Now, Tulane certainly improved since then, and I think you can make the argument that Ole Miss has probably improved too, but don't know what they're going to be without that coach. It's going to be a really weird situation, a weird situational game for them. I don't really know what to expect with them without Kiffin. I don't know if they're going to be pissed off that they don't have him and they're going to be even better, the same type of team, or if this is going to be a fucking utter disaster and they're just not going to be ready to go because it's a massive expense to kind of do without your head coach. I mean, when you're at the G5 levels, I think it's a little bit different. It's like hard at the P5 level, I think. I don't know. But again, Ole Miss sucked against the run this year, and Tulane didn't do anything against them in the run game when they played this year. Another game I really don't know what to expect. If I had to, I'd probably lay it, but I don't know, man. You could if you told me that Tulane played a really, tough game and lost the game by a score. I could see it. If you told me that Ole Miss beat them by 45, I could see it as well. I think there's a lot of different outcomes in this game, and I don't have a lot of interest in getting involved, with the exception of I do think the Ole Miss offense will be relatively unaffected. So I would lean Ole Miss team total if I had to bet something, but I probably won't. Jules, I'll start with you. Anything that you like in the Ole Miss game?
Yeah, it's the least interesting of the games. It's the game that I have the least feel for. There's so many moving parts like you laid out, Dan. I don't know. I don't know what the team's going to be without Kiffin. It is a rematch. Can Tulane take something from that and make this a game like for a little bit? I don't even know what the first half is. If you told me like the first half was Tulane getting 10.5 or something, I would be like, maybe they can hang in there for a little bit, but way too many moving parts. This is the game that, as things stand, I'm just not going to have a bet on. I don't see myself even getting to anything here, to be honest. I don't know, but I'm hoping that Ole Miss maybe looks kind of good so we can get a better number, because it would be Ole Miss, Georgia, right?
Yeah.
I know Georgia beat them once. I like Georgia to beat them again, especially without Kiffin. So I'm hoping maybe they look good just on pure talent against Tulane. But then without Kiffin, it all falls apart against a real operation like Georgia.
CT, over to you.
Yeah, this is kind of the game I really have nothing in for the playoffs. I think the team's going to look a lot different overall, like you said, Dan, but I still think the offense should be humming. I think this is a 4 or 5 point difference than what the first game was, right? I think Ole Miss was laying like 11 or 12 in the first game, and now they're laying 17. Do think Tulane's probably better than they were when they played that first game. But then again, Retzlaff has kind of looked like shit to me towards the end of the year. He's shown signs of life, and then like there's games where I'm like, what the hell is this kid doing? So I don't really know what to think that of this Tulane team coming into the playoffs, playing an SEC team on the road. Like it's a tough spot, but it's also like, all right, yeah. Kiffin's gone, took a bunch of coaches with him, and now you got Golden just stuck here holding the bag. His first ever career playoff game. I don't know. I don't really want anything to do with it right now.
I got a couple comments here too. Caveman mentioning Tulane could come out with ball or turtle, which I think is fair. Leaning disaster for Ole Miss, but staying away. Connor, I think one of Ole Miss, Oregon rolls, one struggles. I feel very similar to that type of situation. Tennessee, Tulane kids are just excited to be here. I mean, you can make the same argument, same for JMU. The kids are just excited to be here, and Big Johnny D, way too much going on with both sides of the coaching staffs. Don't like that Tulane got the fuck kicked out of them the first meeting. OM, not sure anyone can be. I mean, I kind of like the fact that they did get the shit kicked out of them. Usually, it's not usually easy to kick the shit out of another team, especially a good team second time around. But it is what it is. So let's move on to the next game, which is finally the Friday game. Bama, Oklahoma. Bama's a 1-point favorite. 40.5 is the total. We've had very little movement. We've had Bama +1, pick-em -1, but it pretty much all stayed around right around that one number. I told you guys I can't get there with what's going on with the Bama stuff. Ty Simpson back stuff has been out there for a couple weeks now. I have dug into that a little bit more since it's been reported. I do think there is some real legitimacy to that, and I do think that Simpson is having trouble throwing the football right now. Which I think to me is a little concerning. I am going to stay away from Bama. I like Bama. I wanted to bet them. The Simpson stuff is really scaring me off. The coach stuff is really scaring me. When a coach has to come out and say, I'm committed to Bama, that's not a good situation either, and I have no interest in backing them. CT, I'll move it over to you. What are you doing in this one? Are you doing anything with the Bama OU game?
I keep coming back to Bama here. I haven't done anything with it yet. Bama was my initial side that I liked when the lines and the games were released, and the three of us have been talking about it extensively over the last couple weeks. And what's held me back is kind of everything you said: the Simpson stuff, the DeBoer stuff, Jam Miller stuff. Although I did like to see that he's been practicing, and it looks like he's gonna be a go for them, which I think is good, because I talked about one of the reasons why I like Georgia so much in the SEC championship is because Bama is one-dimensional, and if they can't run the ball, Kirby knows exactly how to scheme for that, which we saw in the SEC championship. So I think GM's going to need to be able to run the ball, and the offensive lines are going to need to be a lot better than it has been for Bama this year. And Simpson, whether the back stuff is true or not, I take your word for it. I'm sure it's pretty bad. But he can't force the ball like we've seen kind of the second half of the season. And that's what's causing him to turn the ball over. You have 4 unbelievable wide receivers, and if you could get them the ball, they know how to make plays. And I get it. Like Oklahoma's defense has been unbelievable. They had a bunch of takeaways the second half of the season, and 2 or 3 of them come against Alabama a few weeks ago, and Alabama still outgained them in that game. And pretty much lost the game themselves. Still, with everything going on and Simpson's back, I still find myself coming back to Bama. We have a few days here. I don't think there's a need for me to make a play one way or the other yet. I might have one. As of right now, I lean towards Bama. See what Jules says.
Jules, over to you.
Nobody's going to stick their hand in the cookie jar, huh?
I'll
stick my hand in the cookie jar. Alabama money line. Give it to me. I said last week I would play Alabama, but I didn't have to. I have time to think about it. CT basically just ended with the same thing. We do have a couple days to think about it before a podcast, or you can put it out on Twitter closer to the game. I'm close enough that I'm good. I believe there's something to the Simpson stuff, but he's good enough to be out there and play. The DeBoer stuff, he's not going anywhere. We've gotten past that in my mind. Does he have to answer the questions because so many jobs are opening up? Yeah. Might he leave after the season? Maybe. But he's coaching this game, and he's in it right now. So I like the bounce back angle. Alabama severely outgained Oklahoma in that first matchup. The turnovers did him in. The pick 6 did him in. They were still right there and lost by 3. Now got a chance to go on the road and get some revenge. Best unit on the field, maybe the Oklahoma defense, but I think Alabama will find a way to get some points, and I'm very confident that Alabama's defense will look good against Oklahoma's offense. Georgia was the worst possible matchup at the worst possible time for Alabama. I was all over Georgia in the SEC championship game. That was my favorite play of the weekend. And now I think everybody's down on Alabama due to that offensive performance, and they have a chance to take nearly 2 weeks and get it together and go, gain some yards against a team they gained a lot of yards against, whatever that was, a month and a half ago or so. So yeah, people are down on Bama. I think they can get it together and win this game. So I am there on Alabama.
Dan, 2 quick things before you go that I left out. Okay. This is going to probably be a take that not many people are going to like, but whoever wins this game, I'll be betting versus Indiana. But I'll be on either Oklahoma or Bama in round 2 versus.
You can probably just get that bet against Dan.
no juice. Probably not. I already told you. I think that Indiana's due for a massive letdown now, coming off the Ohio State game. So no, again, so the spot here for Bama is great, right? You got a revenge spot versus Oklahoma. You get them off. You get them off Georgia. I just think that sometimes in these situations it does feel like everyone is on the same sort of side here. I've not seen a lot of love for the Oklahoma team. I do think defensively they're going to get my concern is I think the back injury is a lot worse than we know. Like I don't think he can do much.
So how about the under?
Well,
I don't see Oklahoma scoring much.
That's kind of where I was leaning. I kind of like the under in this one, and I would want 41 probably.
Yeah, it's low for a reason.
Yeah, I would probably want the under in this game, to be honest with you. I think this is probably going to be a similar type game to how we saw Ohio State, Indiana play out just a few weeks ago in the Big Ten Championship. I think this is kind of a slugfest like that. Wouldn't shock me if either side won. I'm just concerned again. Jim Miller is expected to play, as Titan CT said.
Yeah.
He's not going to be anywhere close to 100%.
Well, he hasn't been all year either. So
yeah.
But they are better with him in the game.
Definitely not. Connor saying, isn't it better to play if you like Bama or Oklahoma Straight to play them to win the title? I strongly disagree with that. Again, if you
long
if you don't
way
think,
to go here to win the title.
That was the other thing I was going to say, and I'm not trying to look into it too much, right? Like you have people's heads spinning, but if you look at the odds to win the whole thing right now, Bama's plus 2,200 as a 1 point favorite in this game, and Oklahoma's plus 4,500.
yeah, well, I mean, again,
Long
I think,
odds. Yeah, they're going to be an underdog to Indiana, but certainly a winnable game.
Yeah, I would agree. John checking with the Caveman checking Bama minus 114 and sponsor. There are better money lines out there. In fact, I gave Jules a minus 109 money line out there.
Nice job,
yeah,
Jules.
that's right.
Thanks,
Rudy G checking and seeing the first meeting, it seemed fairly obvious to play Bama, but zero shot. I'm going to do it. The Bama team might just be a legit shot. Too much going on. I do think that there is something to the Bohr stuff. Anytime you have to come out and say, I'm staying, that's usually not a good fucking sign. In fact, it makes me think that you're leaving more. Because I just don't believe anyone these days. Bama outgained them game one. Simpson pick and muff punts. At some point, it's a fluke turnovers, Oklahoma style play. I mean, again, I think it's just a good defensive team. So, anyways, yeah, let's move on to the next game. 297, 298. A&M and Miami. A&M now a 3-point favorite. CT and I did already give this one out last week.
I'm on it as well. We made that a team play.
Oh, was it team bet? Okay, my bad, Jules. Yep. Apologies. So again,
Miami plus 3.5.
That's right. So all three of us are on Miami plus 3.5. I like it more today than I did a couple weeks ago. The stuff coming out with A&M. I'm going to give you guys a little news. I got about 25 minutes before the show. Right now, A&M. He has about 15 to 16 players who are severely sick with the flu. And CT knows where my source comes from on that and knows that it's pretty fucking solid. Yep. It's only Tuesday. And
Dan always knows when people are sick. He's got like sick radar. He's always sick.
I got a good sick connect, Jules. But that is the one thing I have heard. There's a whole bunch of guys who are receiving IVs there. The flu is going around. They don't know if it's COVID or if it's something else, but it is legitimately not a fun week to be in the A&M locker room. And they're trying to keep it out of the media. So they've done, I think, a relatively good job of that. But a bunch of kids are sick there, and including what I was told, 4 important starters, not the quarterback, but 4 important starters. And I do think that is going to potentially impact the game. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know if that's going to, if it will ultimately matter, but I do think that it plays some sort of part, and we'll see how those kids are on Saturday. It's only fucking Tuesday. But I like it even more today than I did, last week because of that. And I still think the same holds true. Offensive defensive line matchup. This is like the worst possible first round matchup for A&M. I think they have a significant offensive and defensive line over pretty much any round one opponent with the exception of Miami. And so I think this is a terrible matchup for them. And man, it sucks because I love A&M to win with my long shot number, but unfortunately, I think that this is they're going to be one and done just based upon the road for them. You guys, any thoughts that have changed for you guys the last couple of days here?
Nothing has changed for me, and I completely agree with you. We talked about it last week. I think this defensive line is a really, for Miami, is a terrible matchup for the O-line of A&M with the 2 pros. With Mesidor and Ruben Bain. I mean, I think Reed is going to be in for a long day with these guys rushing them. And it reminds me a lot. I know it's a totally different game because this one was the Texas game was in Austin, but that Texas D had a lot of problems, made a lot of problems for Reed and that A&M offense. And I like this Miami D a lot better than I like Texas D here. And I think this is a one and done A&M team. Like you said, just an unfortunate draw for A&M because versus anybody else, they probably had a shot to make a run here. And now I could see Miami ripping off a couple.
Yeah, I can too. Jules, anything for you?
Yeah, I mean, the SEC has 5 teams in the field. Texas A&M didn't play any of the other 4 that are in the field. They benefited from a relatively weak schedule. That they have some real wins in there. They went to Notre Dame and won, but the Texas game stands out. Miami's defense is going to provide problems, and let's just go back to like late September, mid-October when we're talking about who's the best team in the country, Ohio State or Miami.
Yep.
Since then, Miami shat the bed on a Friday night at home against Louisville. That happened. The SMU game, they were dinged up, barely lost, got some terrible calls. That one was questionable. This could very well be Miami could just be thought of a lot differently and was thought of a lot differently recently, and they can be that team right now against Texas A&M. So I'm no thoughts have changed. Excited to ride Miami getting the 3.5, and I think they have a good shot to win the game.
Yeah, again, it's a similar Miami team to the team that beat Notre Dame week 1. The team that blew out South Florida. Obviously losing to SMU in the overtime game, losing to Louisville. At home, I think are relatively bad losses, but they've corrected. They blew out NC State, blew out Virginia Tech, went to Pittsburgh, fucked them up. Like, I think they've kind of gotten back a little bit on the right foot, and I do trust Beck in this spot. I kind of think Miami might be able to make a little bit of a run here. I do agree. Rudy G saying I took some Miami 25-1 last week. I don't think that's a terrible bet the way this is kind of playing out for them. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like I like Miami. I really like Miami.
Titan CD just said it too. I agree. Carson Beck, man, guy that's been there before. Like, this isn't fucking new to him. Like, he's got this in his fucking veins.
Yep. 100%. All right, let's move over to the NFL quickly. I'm going to blast through a couple of these games. Any thoughts you guys have, we can talk about them, but we'll talk about them again tomorrow night for the podcast. 101-102 Rams and Seahawks, which is a pick 'em. No Devontae Adams, most likely for the Rams. It could be a divisional championship game. Either you guys like anything in this one?
I like the Seahawks. Sorry, Jules, I didn't know.
No, go.
I like the Horsies here on Thursday night. I like playing kind of a team that's been struggling in the NFL and kind of looked like shit, which is the Seahawks the last few weeks. Probably should have lost to the Colts last week and, have to come down and kick a last-minute field goal. Listen, Rams, they've been awesome all year long, and they're going to be a little short-handed here on offense for Stafford, and I think this is going to go a little bit different than the first one did here. On the road here in a Thursday night spot. I like the Horsies. I think they'll be able to make enough stops here, and they'll be able to get the offense going. Darnold hasn't looked great lately. Makes me feel like, he's due for a game, and we know it's a really tough place to play here, and place should be rocking. 13th man.
Jules, anything for you?
I'll be a Rams fan for the game. I have them between plus 180 and plus 230 from preseason to win the division. I know you guys were Niners guys. I also have the Niners to make the playoffs, so rooting for multiple things in this division. That said, yes, you listed the game as a pick, but it's pinging back and forth between 1.5. So, like, right now, I think the Rams are catching 1.5 on DraftKings. Like, I would tease the Rams to 7.5. I would also consider teasing the Seahawks to 7.5. I really don't care. I think this is a one-possession game. So I think that is in play in terms of a side, just teasing either up to 7.5. I like a lot. Prop-wise, though, there might be something here because none of us are expecting Adams to play. Adams isn't going to play on a short week with the hamstring. You got to be healthy for the playoffs as the Super Bowl contender. So Parkinson, the tight end, stepped in, caught 5 of 7 targets for 75 yards against the Lions, 2 touchdowns. He's been more heavily involved the last month. 41, 27, 32, 75 are his yardage. The Seattle defense is the 4th worst in yardage given up to tight ends, 68 yards per game. Parkinson's about 35.5 yards, and with no Adams, we're stepping into the prop shop. I like Parkinson over 35.5 yards quite a bit. I think he should just see an uptick with Adams out, and the matchup is there for him.
Okay, Jules, is that an official play?
I can wait to do that on the podcast. If
okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. So,
we can wait to do a lot of these.
I put a fraction.
No,
I put a fraction of a unit on it.
You did plenty.
We've run pretty long already anyways.
So we have, exactly. So
I'll speed it up.
We're
I think that's the last
wrapping
of
up
the
here in
prop
the next
shop.
minute. I like the Seahawks too, and I do think the Parkinson could be an interesting look on the over, Jules, because I do think Seattle's up late in that game. Rams gonna have to throw it again. Just kind of a letdown spot here for the Rams on the road. Short week coming off a really massive game against the for in the Lions, and I think Seattle clearly looking ahead past Phillip fucking Rivers to this game. I mean, it was very clear they were not prepped for that game. I think you'll see a good Seahawks performance at home, divisional spot, massive game for them. I think a nice Seattle win here is the way I will lean. So I'll give out Seattle +1.
Oh,
Let's see.
snuck that in.
There you go. I wasn't planning on giving anything out tonight, but why not? I'll play one thing. I did play a little. Bit of that, but yeah, you can get some Seattle plus. I guess there's +1 is probably the most common number.
Yeah, that's
right?
fair.
Yeah, I'll do about +1. I'll find it, whatever. All right, let's continue. Any thoughts in the Saturday game? By the way, I hate the fact that we have Saturday games during the fucking college football playoffs. Absolutely brutal.
Obnoxious NFL. They try and take Christmas from the NBA. They go head to head with the college football playoff.
It's just being cunts. Packers, Bears, anything for you guys in this one? I want to bet the Packers here. I do, but I don't know. Coming off that game, didn't feel great about it, but I want to bet the Packers again. Anything for you guys here?
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Okay.
I'm
Jules?
just a massive Packers fan with a division and playoff ticket in pocket. This is a big one.
Gotcha. All right. Well, there you go. We'll talk about the Ravens and Patriots tomorrow night. We'll save that one for the podcast. I know there's gonna be a lot of thoughts about that one. So we'll save that one. Bucks Panthers, probably a divisional game. If the Panthers lose this game, they're probably out of the division. Because the Bucks will hold a massive edge on them going into the final week of the season. I like the Panthers in this game. I don't know if you guys have bet anything or looked into this game at all, but to me, Carolina home 3-point dog against Tampa Bay. I think this is a great spot to back Carolina coming off that second half shit show. So I don't know if you guys have anything in this one.
Lean Panthers.
Don't they play each other this week and week 18?
Yep.
Yeah.
But again, whoever wins this week will have a massive leg up in the divisional record race, which is a big part of it right now. So
Bucks have been spiraling out of control, so I don't disagree with your take there.
Yep. 123, 124, Bucks, Broncos, and Jags. We'll save this one for the podcast too. I think this is probably the game of the week. We'll save that one. We'll talk about this one here, though. 125, 126, Lions and Steelers. Lions a 7-point favorite coming off the Steelers Monday night win. Short week for the Steelers. Lions coming off a terrible second half against the Rams. Kind of think it's a decent spot to back some Lions here. 6.5 looks like a decent number to me. Any thoughts from you guys on this one?
I got to play here. If you want me to go first here, we go with Lions -6.5 here. Their playoff hopes alive. They got to win out, I believe. They win out, they get in, and I don't think they need any help. They just have to win out. And give me them coming back home here after having to go to LA. They looked good in the first half. I was on the Rams there. But I trust Campbell to come back home here and get a big win and a convincing win. He'll have a good game plan here. Like you said, the short week for the Steel, and you've had some really, really tough spots for the Steelers the past few weeks, and they've somehow got it done. But I think this is going to be too much to ask for a defense that's somehow holding up with all the injuries here on the Steelers side. And now you got to stop Goff and Campbell, who is just a maniac and wants to just score every single possession here and back up against the wall. I think that this has Lions blowout written all over it. So we're going to play the Lions -6.5 here.
All right, Jules, anything for you?
Yeah, generally this is a bounce back spot for the Lions. So I think CT is probably on the right side here. I initially, when I was getting ready to do my show at DraftKings today, I was getting ready to give out over 49.5. And then I flipped through some things. The show started and it was 52. So I missed out on that. I do think we should see some points. Detroit is definitely going to score on this Pittsburgh defense indoors at home off the loss, needing to win. And, Pittsburgh's offense isn't bad right now, and Detroit's defense has a lot of issues. If this total comes back down a bit, I will be interested, but it got away from me a little bit today.
Okay. All right.
I guess I'll give out, because for the sake of the show, I'm looking at the odds board here. I'll give it, bet our sponsors -7, -101. So that's what I'll give out.
Okay, there you go. That's -7, -101. Anything on the we're not going to be we will not have a show tomorrow. We'll have the podcast tomorrow. Anything on the games for you guys tomorrow? Anything at all in the Old Dominion, South Florida, Louisiana, Delaware games?
I kind of like Old Dominion, but I would have loved to have 5.5 and 6.
Yeah, exactly.
I still feel like they show up versus a South Florida team that probably has a lot of coaches that have never called plays before in charge.
Yep. And Jules, anything for you?
I'm good the next couple days on bowl games.
Okay. All right. That's it. That wraps up our show for tonight. Kid on every single playoff game, did some NFL games, and we will hit on all those again tomorrow night and more detail on the Thursday night podcast. Our Thursday podcast, we'll be recording it tomorrow night. Any questions, feel free to send them in. But outside of that, we'll talk about bowl games for this week. We'll hit on the college playoff games, maybe some look ahead, some futures as well, and of course the NFL card. We did touch on some games tonight, but anything else we'll touch on that again. So there you go. We'll talk to you all Thursday afternoon is when the pod will be out. So we'll talk to you then. Hope everyone has a good night, good luck, cash some tickets, and we'll talk to you Thursday.